Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. In Nigeria, it's very difficult to differentiate genuine government crises and critics rather, and those seeking favor from government. The case of El-Rufai, a prominent political figure, highlights the complexity. On one hand, critics argue that some individuals pose as government critics to gain attention, popularity, or even financial benefits, right? Those pseudo-critics might use their platforms to attack the government, but their ultimate goal is to secure favors or positions within that same government. On the other hand, there are genuine critics who risk everything to speak truth to power. These individuals often face intimidation, harassment, or even prosecution. El-Rufai, as a former minister, former governor, has been both praised and criticized for his policies and actions. Now, his recent media outcries leaves a question on the minds of the lips of Nigerians. What are your intentions? Are you genuinely concerned about the growth of Nigeria, or you are criticizing this government because, you know, there's nothing in it for you? All right, so it's another beautiful episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name remains Osaiwa Mesale, and today we are asking, do we have genuine government critics or opportunists in Nigeria? And we're using the El-Rufai case as his issues, or rather his conversations, recent media outings, as our case study. Now remember, Ways is all about you. You are the why in what are you saying, which is Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day. Add your voice to the discussion. You can also head on to our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Hit that subscribe button, like, share, and invite your families and friends to join the show right now. When I open the phone lines, I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is a very interesting topic, right? Do we have genuine people that are criticizing government, or is it just because they're just waiting so that the government can get their attention and then put them in power? That's the question. So I'd love to hear your say when I open the phone lines. As always, let me allow you ponder on my quote from for the day, and it's also from El-Rufai. It says, "Since I left office and the president begged me publicly to support him, I said I would, and I don't want anything. And I am a self-made man. I don't need anything." Do you agree with this? All right, we'll delve into this much later. But first, let me run off on a break. When I come back, I'll let you in on my news interest for the day.
There's a desperation for wealth, because corrupt money flaunts wealth. We're still a very fetish nation. We're still a very ritualistic nation. We're still a very suspicious nation. Are we ready as a people? A lot of Nigerians are not quite ready. Yeah, the average Ghanaian, and I'm not ashamed to say so, is slightly more educated and more exposed than the average Nigerian. That's the truth. Another crop of Nigerians that are very, very influential. They are not many, but they're very influential. Their voices are loud, and most of them have benefited from the system. Japa thing is not so bad after all, because I'm hoping that they won't japa so badly that they cut off the ties, you know, and things like 30 December brings them back. The first thing I would do as leader of Nigeria is ban importation of food. Nigeria was designed to fail. It wasn't designed to succeed. Nigeria was designed to feed.
Okay, thanks for staying with us. So I'll start with the story of the U.S. and it says U.S. excludes UK others from visa-free entry for 2025. So there's a list. Apparently there are some people that your passport does not require a visa, you know, to go into the country. So the United States, they had released this list on Monday of eligible countries for its 2025 visa waiver program. And the United Kingdom was excluded from the program, but remains eligible under specific conditions. So I don't know what those conditions would be. And the list does not also include any African country. You know, none of the African countries are involved in the list. However, there was a huge, significant update. Romania, right, has been added to that list, and the U.S. has also focused on enhancing security checks and prioritizing countries with very strong diplomatic ties and border security standards. So according to the U.S. Bureau of Consular Affairs website, the visa waiver program allows most citizens of nationals of participating country to travel to the U.S. for tourism or business for up to 90 days without obtaining a visa. Travelers, of course, must have a valid electronic system for travel authorization approval prior to that travel, and meet all requirements that was explained, you know, of course, in that document. So, yeah. This is an interesting story. I'm just wishing and saying that which day will our country, which day will our country ever get there? Yeah. You call it wishful thinking. I don't think so. If we have very strong leadership that start to understand why we are here, I am very sure that, you know, our green passport will now become something that we'll be extremely proud of, and, you know, perks like this will begin to enjoy as well. Okay, so I'll move on to my next story. Subscribers lament MultiChoice, how they have raised subscription by 21%. And this fee is quite interesting. So it's going to take effect from the 1st of March 2025. This latest adjustment follows a similar price hike, you know, in May 2024, which the company attributed to inflation and rising operational costs in Nigeria. So the announcement has triggered, of course, widespread criticism from subscribers subscribers, right, many of whom took to social media to express frustration over frequent price hikes without corresponding improvement in the service quality. So, yeah, this price hike will take effect on Monday. For those that are on that premium package, they'll be paying 44,500. Those premium bouquet would be 44,500. And I think for the compact guys, they're moving from 15,700 to 19,000 naira. So I see this as both an opportunity, right? It might be a problem for some people, but I see it more as an opportunity for content owners or content media companies, or whatever it is you want to call them. If you have the capacity, I know at some point, High TV really gave MultiChoice a run for their money, but hey, they didn't have the structure to, the professional capacity to match the structure that MultiChoice has in place. But I know that there are some plans around how the government wants that to bring, is it free to air or something, because whether we like it or not, we're moving and migrating from what you might call it, the terrestrial, to digital channels, right? So there will be a DSO, they call it digital switchover, blah, blah, blah. So the federal government has plans to put decoders in the house, in like everybody's home. So you are able to access, and you then have, what's it called? Access to free channels and all of that. So this will be an opportunity for those kinds of companies to actually take advantage of this and find a way to bring, what's it called? Maybe fewer choices, because sometimes even the channels are just too many. I don't even know what to watch. I only watch news channels, so I'm not really the client for these kinds of people. But for those that are like interested in all these, what's it called, soap operas, telenovelas, and all of that, there is a way that the content creation market can boom from this. So we now get those cheaper, what's it called, companies rival this company. I think they still start times and all of that. They now bring in more content owners, right, into that system. So they have content owners, and I mean, I don't know how the arrangement will work out, but I feel like it's an opportunity for better contents to flood the system, and even more local content, right? So maybe some of the reason, or one of the reasons would be that, you know, they have to maintain certain kinds of partnerships with the international content owners, you know, so that might also be why prices are high, apart from all the obvious ones that we have in Nigeria. So I don't know. I think it's an opportunity for people that are in the content creation space, for people that are in the media space, that own media companies and all of that. Let us see how we can take advantage of this, create cheaper options for Nigeria, because it's not like our revenue is even going higher, right? We are still battling with even a 75,000 naira minimum wage. So is it from 75,000 naira, I will not take 44,500 to go and pay for for cable subscription when I've not eaten, I've not gone to, I mean, transportation is there, feeding is there. Your electricity that is running like what I don't know now is also there. So there's a lot tugging on the finances of Nigerians. So I feel like if people can come together and bring cheaper options, they will just be the rise of another, you know, cable network. Because I really understand with MultiChoice, they don't have a choice. You know, the truth is their own operational cost, except if they also want to look at how they downsize. If they downsize again, it means that people they will lose their jobs. So it's a very tricky place to be, honestly. Running a business is quite tough. It's a tough terrain right now in Nigeria. So I'll move on to my final story. You know how the House of Assembly, they've been having a lot of back and forth, you know, and all of that. So the latest report on that, you know, I'm just following up on this story because she's a woman. She's the first female speaker. Unfortunately, it's looking like maybe that tenure might come to an end, because they say she may step down, you know, because there is a panel. They call it an Akande panel. They have selected 7 lawmakers from the southwest part of Nigeria, and those lawmakers are being considered, you know, to step in. So it means her and the former Speaker Obasa would step aside, and they would select they've selected a list of 7 lawmakers from southwest. Lagos West rather, and they would then take those names to the presidency for review, and then they will now make the final selection. So what they had said was, as long as you've done 2 years within the House, you are eligible to be, you know, the Speaker, right? So let's see how it goes, and it's just sad that, you know, the first time we're celebrating a woman, you know, being at that level of leadership, you know, and then, you know, the tenure is looking like it's going to be cut short. It's sad. I feel sad for her, but hey, it is what it is. It's the political scene and the political terrain. It's not for the weak-hearted, honestly. It's not for the faint-hearted. You have to be strong to be inside politics in Nigeria, or anywhere in the world, actually. All right, so we'll see you after the break. Let's discuss, what's it called, criticism, right? Do you think people that criticize government, do you think they genuinely care about Nigerians' growth, or you think they are more interested in their personal gains? That's the conversation. So stay with me.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and loads of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
In Nigeria, it's tough to tell the difference between genuine government critics and those seeking favors. The case of El-Rufai, a prominent political figure, highlights this complexity. While some argue that El-Rufai's criticism are genuine, others see him as an opportunist seeking to gain favor with the government of the day. El-Rufai, if he is truly concerned about the development of Nigeria and not seeking a payback for the role he played in stalling this government, might just be a casualty, right? In those who called out government, of course, in the past for their selfish interest. They had said, oh, the government is not doing this, the government is not doing that. And by the time they were done calling out the government, because of the noise that they made so much, right, the government then called them to say, oh, yeah, come and take, you know, and all of a sudden, most of them have gone quiet, right? And I feel like, you know, if El-Rufai's intentions are actually genuine, then it means that he might just be a victim, you know, or a casualty from the, the past critics of government. Examples would be, so I just remembered that, you know, there were a few of them that criticized government. One of them would be our former, the current minister, right? I think he's the minister for digital economy and something, yeah, that's the Bosu Tijani. I mean, he was known for criticizing the government, you know, he was just there. Now he's now the Minister for Communications, yes, that's it, and digital economy under the same President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yeah, you see, these arguments about, you know, scenarios like this, right? There's always the argument that plays out when these kinds of scenarios come out. The argument is that, you know, most of these people, they only are just trying, you know, to be in that system, right? They want to be in that system. They don't want to, most of the things that they're doing is just, let us keep making noise. Then when they hear the noise enough, they will now say, okay, come and run the system. So that's what is playing out. Because for the likes of Boso Tijani, for instance, right, he must have gone to, he's currently a minister, and I'm looking, I'm calculating, I'm saying, okay, what are the things that, you know, he's really done that is really measurable, apart from all the massive conferences and all of that he has, you know, been doing? What is the real impact? What are the lives and where are the people, the measurable impacts that has been made, you know, since he was made minister? Also, I remember his screening so well in my head, how the Senate made him apologize. That's to tell you that he was a huge critic of the government, right? The Senate made him to apologize and all of that. And a lot of Nigerians were saying that, with all the mouth this guy was making, so he should have not just said, you know what, I bow out and I stand by what I had said when I criticized the government. So you see, when those kind of scenarios play out, it then makes you wonder if this person genuinely was when the person was criticizing the government, they criticized the government because they truly, genuinely believed that the government wasn't doing enough, or they were not, doing enough, yes, to bring the best out of the country that that's being governed. Or they were just doing it because, let me make enough noise. When I make enough noise, they would hear that, oh, I'm intelligent, I'm sound, and they can make me minister. Because when he did that apology inside the House, the National Assembly, almost a lot of us were saying, ha-ha. So all the mouth you were making on social media, is this how the thing now? So now he's so quiet, He's so quiet, he doesn't say much, he's doing well as a minister. So that is one. Rino Omokri, two, he's a former aide to President Goodluck Jonathan. He is known, that one is his home assignment, is his life project, criticizing government and all of that. But, all of a sudden, there's just a switch that happens with these people. I don't know whatever happens behind the scenes, because he now becomes a very strong supporter, an advocator for the same government. So you then wonder, truly, if these criticisms that are coming, right, are they criticisms that... What is the point of the... So, okay, let them know that somebody called Rino Omokri exists, right? And then afterwards, they will start to... You now become friends and you're rubbing shoulders with the same people that you have criticized. I don't know. I know they say that in politics or all these scenarios, there's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interest. But I choose, to still believe that maybe there might just be some genuine people in there. Another person that comes to mind is Dele Momodu, right? He was also, he's still a journalist and he's also a politician. He was also a very strong critic of the government at a point, right? Then he later joined the ruling party and became a very, very strong supporter of the government. The list continues. Femi Fani-Kayode too. He's a former Minister for Aviation. He was also a very strong, vocal person. He was very, very strong on criticizing the government, and he, of course, later joined the ruling party and became a supporter of the government. So, have we seen any past critics of government that have joined the government, that have criticized the government, and when they now eventually bring them into that system, have they made any meaningful impact? Because you see all these names that I've called, the ones that are really actively either elected or appointed, right? You really can't put a finger to, okay, with all the noise you have made, what exactly is the impact that you have made, at this past or the time that you eventually were absorbed into the government system. So when I see people like El Rufai coming out to talk, or anybody, in fact, coming out to talk, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I believe that it's the same thing that happens in the minds of a lot of Nigerians, the question we keep on asking is that, is this genuine, right? Is this genuine government criticism, or is this just another person trying to get noticed so that the government can then say, okay, well, yeah, come and take? Because this is all we see. And do we really, truly have Nigerians, that cannot be bought? Because they say that Nigerians can be bought, and we just need to know with the right what the right amount would be, So do we have those Nigerians that cannot be bought, that will say, you know what, come rain, come sunshine, I will stick to what it is that I have said and not be, blinded by maybe money or whatever to then start to call black, white, because these are, I might be trivializing it, smiling and talking about it, but these are the core of why we are where we are as a people. And this is also why when we start to make noise, when we start to protest, when we start to do all of these things, that's why the government will never take us seriously. I beg you. We'll go check with him be the price. Even me now, as I did like this, I know they show. I don't know how much government will give me now. I will just tell you people, oh, today is going to be a very good day. I'll come on air. I'll say today is going to be nice. The weather is great. Even though the weather is very sunny or whatever, the weather is great. The weather is, the government is doing well. The government is, only God knows how much is my own money and what they will pay me, But I might make light of the conversation. I do it intentionally so that the message sinks in, right? Because as it stands now, whenever we see anybody calling out the government online, right? There's just so much doubt of that intention, because over the years, a lot of people that have criticized government, they just need the right amount of attention. Once it is gotten and there's an appointment or there's a selection or whatever process, and that person is then moved to the winning side, which is the side that is in government, right? You just see that this person goes extremely quiet. All of a sudden, the government that you were criticizing becomes the best thing that happens since sliced bread. So how do they do these things? How does it work, right? You know, the blurred lines between criticism and optimism in Nigeria's political landscape, it's common, very common for individuals to pose as government critics while secretly, right, secretly, in their heart of heart, they're seeking favors or positions within that same government. And this phenomenon, of course, has led to widespread skepticism, rather, right? And the intention of those, of course, about the intention of those who criticize the same government. If you look at El Rufai's case, people are asking, is this an opportunism or a criticism situation, right? Is he trying to criticize the government, you know, and get the government's attention so that the government will say, okay, you worked really hard to install me as president, so yeah, come and take, you know. Because his actions has raised a lot of eyebrows, leading to some questions about this intention. He worked hard to get Tinubu to power, and the natural thing that we see with political, what's it called, in the political landscape, most of the people that help to install a leader, one of the promises that is being, circulated around those kinds of help would be, don't worry, as soon as I get into power, XYZ will be yours, right? But El Rufai has not enjoyed that XYZ, right? Even though he claims that he's not seeking anything from the government and all of that. But people, this is why people are saying that it's possible that this, this outcry or outburst or whatever it is that you might call it, is just, you know, another person trying to seek favor from the government. And it's so sad, because it's sad because even if those things that the person is trying to say are actually genuine concerns and, you know, like really constructive criticism, right? It's the underlining, embedded secret ambition or whatever will still keep ringing in the minds of the people. What is your motive? You know, so that's why even when we genuinely criticize government, they attack you by saying that you are trying to bring down the, this government, you are trying to whatever. They call you all sorts of names. And so these are the things, these are the real issues that makes it very difficult, you know, for us as a people to be able to make a headway. Right? It's really essential to critically evaluate the motivations and the actions of anyone that is claiming to be a government critic. And for those that are claiming to be a government critics, they spoil the genuine work of other critics. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because you see, your actions that is fueled by personal interest, it then blocks real solutions for those that genuinely care about this country and are criticizing the government. It just stops everything. One of the things you hear politicians say off camera, because they will never say it on air, they say Nigerians are the reason why we are the way we are. They say it all the time. You know, they say Nigerians are the reason why we are the way we are. If you people take a decision, you know, and stand by that decision and firmly come and say, you know what, demanding X, Y, Z, we will answer you people. After all, you people are the ones that installed us there. But you see, when you see all these small compromises that happen, it might be small to you, but the overall impact is why we're where we are today, right? So we need to be very intentional. We need to be very intentional about, and we need to, even as we keep on going, right? Whenever a critic comes online, let's not just be quick to give that person, the popularity and all of that. Let us begin to question their motive. It's very important. So even before the government will start to say, oh, you want to bring my government down, let us be the one to start to question what exactly is your motive, what drives you. And not only that, these kinds of people, you can also go and check their track record. How consistent have their messaging been, right? And again, some of these people, how willing are they to engage in constructive dialogue? So it's not just, oh, government is bad, government is this. How willing are they to what's it called? To engage in constructive dialogue? You know, then you would know whether this person, the motive is genuine and he's actually truly interested, or she's interested in finding a solution to some of the challenges that we face in the country. So we cannot just be quick to fall for somebody that comes and says, oh, the God, because they understand again too that the language that Nigerians want to hear all the time is attacking the government, attacking the government, attacking the government, right? So these people that have what's it called, opportunistic mindset, they may take advantage of the situation so that it can favor me. They understand what we want to hear, so they keep on playing that same record. So we too, we keep on falling for that same cassette. Right? We keep dancing to that same tune, because if I come today now and I start to say, this government is bad, I will have 10 million views. Because that's the whole idea. Once we start that shout and everything, you monster the popularity. And once they gain the popularity, that's all they need. They can then make demands. And the next thing you see, the person goes quiet. So we also need to start to, would I call it reverse psychology or whatever? The point is, Nigeria is in this need of great leadership. Whether we like it or not, we have a huge leadership deficit, right? Good leadership deficit in Nigeria. However, insanity, I will always say this every time I get the opportunity. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, which means if all we've been doing in the past is that somebody comes, this government is bad, Tinubu is the worst governor, if that is what the person says all the time, and we too, we say yes, and we give that person, we fuel that, that person's popularity and grow the person's following, and the person then goes back and all of a sudden the person is quiet. We've seen that play, that cassette has played several times. So why are we still falling for it? Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll share more insight on the topic and hopefully how we can move forward from this. See you after the break.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. The question is, do we have genuine government critics in Nigeria, or we just have people that are fighting for personal gains, for their own pockets? That's our question for tonight. Now, please, I beg you, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. This WhatsApp line, you can also call on WhatsApp, right? The phone lines to call on the regular calls would be 07025007749 or 07014242420. Let us hear what you have to say. Do you think that critics in this country, do you think they are genuine, or they are just waiting for the opportunity so that, once they gain enough popularity, they can then, of course, make demands for their personal gains? That's the question. So I'll go back to El-Rufai, the recent interview that he granted, and I'll quote some of the things he said. So first he said that, because, he was rejected at the National Assembly, he said that the National Assembly had nothing to do with it, that it was the president that didn't want him in his cabinet. For somebody that says he didn't want anything from the government, now he says the president didn't want him from the cabinet. He then said that President Tinubu's appointments are quite imbalanced. He said, don't blame the Southwest for what one individual is doing. He says the appointments are not being made because the appointees are Yoruba, but because they are his own boys. And most of those appointments do not even reasonably cover the Southwest. So do you agree on some of the things he's saying about the president's cabinet being filled with his own people, his own boys? Because again, these are all the things that we're saying. I've said it several times that when elections are happening, and a lot of people, what they do is that they ensure that during the electoral processes and all of that, the campaigns and all of that, so they go all out, they do all that work and everything, then eventually what then happens is the government, right, after there is an installation or maybe whatever, the person wins the elections, you see these people intentionally being positioned in different power sectors. And not only that, it's either they go there themselves or they now have that freedom to be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm nominating this person, as a payback for my own deeds that I did. So that's why when we continue to have that kind of system in governance, it affects a lot of things. It means that so I'm not saying that these people might not be competent. Follow my train of thought. I'm saying that for every time you help me to do something, since I am somewhat like I owe you, I owe you something to like a thank you. I would say, okay, you know what? Because of what you did for me, whatever it is that you want to do, I would like, to make sure that I also am able to reciprocate that help that you rendered. So when you have that structure, it means that for every single time there is, politics going on and leaders are elected and all of that, they would always have people that they would need to say thank you to. That's the word. And if they need to say thank you to those people, it means that those positions that are available to use to say thank you to them will continue to be filled by people that are, that have worked for the government. So when do we start to have the right people that are supposedly qualified for that position? So you see why I say that El-Rufai's conversations or his statements and all of that might be right. The message might be right. We are just having a problem with the messenger. Because it means that most of the time, when we keep on, even when we have the right message about, issues around the governance and how it's being run and all of that, because the intention of that messenger has always been about, what is in it for me? Because this intentionality thing I'm talking about, it played out so well in the 2023 general elections. People were more focused on what will benefit their stomach, what will benefit their pocket, what will benefit their careers and all of that. Most people were not focusing on what will benefit the country. I'm not talking about the outcome now. I'm talking about the conversations that I overheard during that electoral process. And for as long as we keep on thinking like this as a people, it will be very difficult for us to grow as a country. We have to be very clear. What do we want? Do we want to change status quo? Do we want the leadership to be finally, a square peg in a square hole in Nigeria? If that is the intention, then it means that whatever criticism we want to bring to this government, it must come from a genuine place. We can't keep having people disguising, as critics, whilst they are more focused on what they stand to gain personally. All right? So, let's focus on some individuals and, of course, hold them accountable. That's the truth. Whether we like it or not, President Tinubu needs to do something about whether he is for all of us or he's just about, paying back, the people that have been loyal to him. We have to be very intentional about about all of that. So yeah, based on El-Rufai's outburst and all of that, do you think that he has real love for the for the development of our nation, or it is him trying to position himself for this administration? Because the administration is a long thing, you know? Because me, I don't believe that any president can do 4 years in Nigeria. Maybe President Tinubu might be the first, I don't know. But usually when the president comes like that, now 8 years, he will complete. So let's say if I don't check and say, chai, say 8 years, oh, can I stay? Because, I mean, he's been in government, I hear, since 1999, right? So he's been in different positions of power and all of that. So this is the first time he's out of government. So the guy don't think and say, kai, can I wait for 8 years? So let me just start to make noise. If I make noise enough, they will probably call me to say, oh, yeah, come. It's okay, keep quiet. No, this is just me trying to be sarcastic. But hey, on a serious note, right, I don't know what his intentions are, but I'll leave that question to you to answer. Do you think he is genuine by some of the criticisms that he has, brought forward? All right, so moving forward, right, I believe that Nigeria needs a culture that encourages genuine criticism and constructive dialogue. And this can be achieved by promoting media freedom. That's the first thing. The fact that I'm here talking, right, I don't even know who will call me tomorrow and say, why did you go and say that on air? Or whether the government will send somebody to come and say, okay, I saw a video of the Brekete man, how I think he was summoned or something by the Senate and all of that. So these are the things that we talk about, right? I mean, if we want to even start anything first, right? If government is really interested in constructive criticism and constructive dialogue, that idea that the media is gagged has to be expunged. It means that we must have freedom, right? Not just freedom, but, complete, absolute freedom. It must allow journalists and also critics to hold those in power accountable without fear of retribution. That is one big thing that we must do. I believe we have a caller. Okay. Loma, good evening. Is he there? Did we lose him? Hi, good evening. Loma, do you believe that El-Rufai's criticism is genuine, or he's just trying to look for ways to enter this government?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Loma? Oh, apologies. I think he's not hearing me. So, I mean, yeah, so we must be allowed to hold those in power accountable without any fear of retribution. So that is the first step. If we must achieve any form of, growth, especially within our leadership structure, as a way to move forward, right? That freedom must be available. The second point I'll make around how we can move forward, so we can start to have honest criticism in this country, would be, you must also encourage critical thinking. What I'm doing here tonight is just to help you think, help me too. I'm helping myself and helping you. Let us think together. We must encourage critical thinking. It's very essential. We don't think. We just want people to just tell us, oh yeah, what to do, and you do it. No, think, why do you want me to do this? So what would be the end goal, in the end? How would it impact? Do we have another caller? Good evening. Is the person there? Okay, Loma is still there. Hi, Loma. Good evening.
Good evening, Jessica. I love your question.
Thank you.
Please, I want to let us know, in this country, we have hypocritical politicians. Hypocrites. From the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. None of them have genuine love for this country. So look at what, will I call it matter presence, that El-Rufai is dancing. I'm telling you, this is one of the what disgrace he's giving to himself. Because it's Tinubu that stopped my appointment. But this is a person that you have been criticizing. These people don't have any love for this country. These are the people that we should admire them one side, because these people that you're seeing are the cause of Nigerian problems. You cannot stand your ground, even when you are in a position to tell the president, so far you have gone in bad governance, go no more further. But once you have a little leeway and have maybe given appointment, before you know it, you will start singing another song. The people like El-Rufai and others that look like him, please, I pray Almighty God to shift them away from the politics of this country, because we need a genuine person who will stand in and turn this country around for good. Look at where 980 naira a liter, and they are rejoicing that they are doing well. It's quite unfortunate. It's only God that will deliver us, and I pray Heavenly God will deliver us from these bad politicians. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wow. You can hear the passion in his voice. And this is what we're saying. I want us to think critically. You know, this year on Ways, if you notice, it's intentional. Most of our topics is just to help spark some deep insight to some of the challenges that we have. Let's not continue to play to the gallery. It's not all the noise and shouting, oh, government is the... More think and well. Right, let's critically think, you know, essentially we come together, all of us, and think. We must be able to do those critical evaluation, right? We must critically evaluate some of the information and identify genuine critics from, you know, opportunists that we have around, flunking around and disguising as, oh, they really care about the country. We must probe it. We must question their intentions. You know, we must put, like, heads together and say, okay, yes, I hear you. Government, so why is this happening? So let us start to probe further until we get their genuine intention. And this, you know, for us to be able to do this, it requires a very well-educated and informed citizenry. You see where problem is? You know, because another challenge that we have is that, you know, we're lacking when it comes to enlightened citizens, or, you know, well-informed citizens, well-educated citizens. We're having an issue there. So it's easy for us to be gullible as a people, right? Just fall for anything. You know, we can fall for anything because why? We do not even have the capacity to be able to decipher some of these things. But I'll tell you that in Nigeria, there are more opportunistic people than the ones that truly care about Nigeria. So we need to be very clear. So once we have that clarity, then we start to peel it small, layer by layer, the way you take the onions, you know, layer by layer. You know, furthermore, right, as a way to move forward would be we must strengthen institutions, right? It's very crucial in Nigeria. One of the biggest problems that we have, apart from the leadership, we don't have institutional bodies that can even hold the leaders accountable. So, for instance, our judiciary, what's it called? Some of these are financial crime management institutions and all of that. All of those kinds of bodies, there has to be some sense of structure, you know, that makes it difficult for any leader to just misbehave. If you see our institutions like the judiciary, the legislative institutions, and, you know, there has to be a level of independence. See what we're talking about yesterday, you know, our National Assembly. It is the years have it, the days have it, the eyes have it. That's all we keep on hearing. We don't see real debate. Look at what the guest was talking about yesterday, Mr. Ekpi. He was saying it. Real debate. So you bring a budget to the House, and the House will tell you, no, okay, last week, this, that, this is the, you know, so this budget, first of all, is over-bloated, this budget is this budget is that, because they inflate prices of this thing all the time. They put, embed some kind of funny things inside budget all the time. How come the legislative arm that we have, they've not been able to say, you know what, in this particular budget, these were the X, Y, Z items that had some issues and it's been expunged, and these are the reasons, like literally, you start to see that, okay, yes, these people are working. Then we've scrutinized it based on market price, market analysis. This budget is overinflated and it needs to come down. I don't think I've ever heard that kind of arguments in our legislative arm. So we need to really have those kinds of strong institutional bodies that would debate and contest with the executive. And they must be very independent and effective in checkmating, right, the executives, all their powers. If we start to have that, you know, some of the challenges that we have, right, it will just fizzle out, because it will prevent, you know, the concentration of power and promote more accountability within the government system or the governance structure. So nobody can just wake up and say they want to do what it is that they want to do. And it means that at every point in time, we then have a lot of probing. So because people know now that, if I do anyhow, this thing will be found out. It will be difficult for you to even slot in any funny-looking, project within all of those budgets, right? So if we're looking at what's it called, addressing criticism in Nigeria, it's beyond just us saying that government is bad, government is this. This is how I look at criticism. There is a way to criticize, and when you're criticizing, to show that your intentions are genuine, one of the ways I see when a genuine criticism is coming is you have said this is a problem. You have attacked, the source of the issue. So you've attacked the issue, you've pointed out and brought out the problem. Then when you bring out that problem, then you then say, okay, you know what? Based on X, Y, Z that I have seen happen in the past, I believe that these are my recommendations for this problem to be solved, And sometimes you might also have the expertise to solve that problem. Nothing stops you from saying that I'm more than happy, to be part of the team that would work on this, on this solution. And as much as possible, even though I know that it's difficult in Nigeria, one of the factors that show that you're genuine is that you also are willing to do it for free, right? You're willing to do it for free, to say, you know what, I can help in this aspect, and my time and everything, I will do it, at no cost. It's hard, because trust me, they say DSTV bill just increased. There's telecommunication bill, there's power bill, there's fuel, there's housing. Everything is just, putting pressure on you. But I'm just saying that intentions matter. And for us as Nigerians, let's not just be quick to just, criticize the government. Let's also be intentional about providing some of these, solutions, to some of the challenges that we face. So ultimately, I would say that Nigeria needs genuine leadership that listens to constructive criticism. It also needs genuine critics that are constructive with their criticism. Don't just come and be shouting for us. Give a very constructive feedback to the government so that we can be hearing ourselves. Because once you attack a government, they shut down. So no matter how great some of the things that you say is, or some of the things that you're pointing at their fingers to is, they won't listen. So as much as we need genuine leaders that will listen to the constructive criticism, we need genuine critics that are citizens to also critique constructively. I believe I'm making sense. And again, those critics must also be committed to the country's development. So it's not about your pocket. We have, Nigeria is such an amazing country. I have traveled, at least to some extent, to different continents of the world. And I'll tell you, every time I travel, I'm always looking at my time. I want to come back home. I've never been that person that wants to live abroad. I can go there, and honestly speaking, the best I can do for you, 14 days, and I'm out, The longest I've stayed, that long time I stayed, it was because I was compelled to stay, and it was because I needed to do some things that had to be outside of the country. And trust me, it was not easy for me. My sister kept on wondering, is this how restless you are when you're not in Nigeria? I say, yes, I actually love my home. Nigeria is such a beautiful place, has so much potential. So we need to, as critics, we need to be constructive enough, and at the back of that criticism must be country's development. It must be that we are intentional about growing our country. Nigeria is such a blessed place. And also, leaders must prioritize nation's interest over their personal gains. I hear in politics, you don't have permanent enemies. You just have permanent interest. But you see, let's start having leadership that have national interest, right? They have national interest over personal gains, and they're willing to make difficult decisions for the greater good. When I say difficult decisions, as heavy as it was for the president to say, oh, subsidy is gone, could he have also in some way say that this dispensation, these 4 years, no new cars for anybody in government, any car that you have, which I know you have, bring it to work? Would we have been able to say that? Yes. Would we have been able to say there's no renovation of the vice presidential house? Would he have been saying that there's no buying of a new presidential jet? We'll be chartering or whatever, depending when the economy gets better? Yes. would we have been able to say that, you know what, no buying of new cars for First Lady or whatever? Yes. So the difficult decisions that must be made for the greater good, it involves everybody. It's not everything that just pours down on Nigerians. Because it seems like every policy, everything that has been said, the impact is more on the average Nigerian on the street than the political leaders. They are going about as if there's no problem. How can you say that there's a country that is suffering in poverty and you're buying brand new SUVs? You don't even buy brand new SUVs, though. You constantly go buy imported SUVs. You're not even patronizing, okay, a locally made brand that will then eventually, the ripple effect is that it will create more employment and give more homes and more people salaries. No, you went abroad. So these are the challenges that we face, that we see all the time. So if we are interested, leaders must prioritize national interest over personal gains, and they have to be willing to take the very difficult decision. And that decision sometimes might be blocking your what's it called, your test for what's it called, acquiring money that is not yours. We must address these areas, right? Nigerians can also create an environment where genuine government critics can thrive. And of course, the opportunistic people are also held accountable. And as I said, that environment will now be us critically thinking and critically analyzing some of these critics. So we start to tell ourselves that, okay, no, this one, it will not fly. But all of this can only happen when we have a well-informed people. So I'm hoping that today's show has really helped for us to start to think deeply, right? Do we have genuine critics in Nigeria today? The answer is yes. But you see, what is happening is that those genuine critics, based on the opportunistic people that we have seen over the years, it suppresses whatever voice that they have. Because people will just blanket all of them in that group and say, I beg now, because they never give them appointment. When they give them appointment, go quiet. So that's why things have to change, so that our leaders can also take us seriously. Thank you so much for watching. Unfortunately, I don't think I have comments. Okay, I hope I don't, but I've run out of time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being part of the show. You can subscribe on our YouTube channels at Official Upgrade TV. You can also interact with all our engagements online. Like, share, invite your families and friends to continue to watch and follow the conversation. If you missed our quote from El-Rufai, it says, since I left office and the president begged me publicly to support him, I said I would and I don't want anything. I am a self-made man. It's okay. And I don't need anything. Of course, that was from El-Rufai. Self-made man. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.